Hi friends, how are you? Um, I hope you guys are doing amazing. Working on a little slow stitching. I've been updating you guys. I've been did a couple shorts as well. I did some community posts on some updates for our slow stitching for our snippet rolls. Real quick, if you are a subscriber, please make sure that you hit the notification bell so you can get updates for all of these different videos that we were doing here. So last video, I left you guys off with these foundation pieces. So these are just pieces that I had in my my little bin, whatever size they were, whether they were strips, right, or bigger pieces, whatever was in there. I just added the lace and some fabrics to whatever size. I didn't cut it, I didn't adjust it. Whatever piece was in there, I just added lace. I added some cheesecloth, right? So these are all different sizes, right? So this is, I told you, this is the one that we were working on. This is our, I guess we could say, template, right? So this is one that we are going to be just kind of going off of. Now this one here is not slow stitched. This is all machine stitched. But I am using this, just to give us a guide. So these are just some little, I guess you can call snippet clusters that I made just working on at night, right? I showed you the first video was our little toolbox of everything that we needed. So this is just stuff that I've been working on at night on the couch, right? So all different types of colors and patterns, and it's whatever, use what you have. Like I have a whole bunch of scraps here, and actually, as a side note, some of this stuff, actually a lot of these were in my scrap pod. So people always say, did you make all that stuff from when I finally tell everyone everything that we made from our scrap pod? They can't believe it. But all of these little fabrics, a lot of these come from scrap pods because they're just, smaller pieces of fabrics. Okay, so the first part is in video number 1, how we made these, right? We just added our fabrics and laces, and this is our template. Okay, number 2, this is something that I have been working on, right? So this is a miniature version of this pretty much, because I've used the same exact fabrics that I used in the backgrounds of this snippet roll for this. The same exact fabrics. I just slow stitched this one. The other one is just machine stitched, so you could see the back of it, right? And this for today is going to be our piece that we are going to make. So this is the completed one. This is one that we've already started, right? We just slow stitched some of the pieces similar to this here from our original fabric and lace pieces. So again, I just did a stay stitch here, and I've pre-picked out some of the same fabrics that are in both here and in here. So I just cut out some small pieces here. Again, they are the same fabrics, and we are going to work our way. So consider this, our first, second, and third piece, even though it's going to be backwards, but this is going to be first because this is what we're going off of, these two. All right, so number 1 trick I always say is to pre-thread your needles. Pick out your fabrics, pick out the colors of your floss, and pre-thread your needles. So for me, I like to have needles that are nice and long. This is a 2-inch needle with a big eye that's sharp. So a long needle that's sharp with a big eye. Now these needles aren't as easy to find as you think they would be. A lot of these needles that I use for my slow stitch kits are actually needles that I have found at estate sales. So this is just a cream colored floss. Floss comes in 6 strands, right? So the thickness of your stitching, as if you can see here, I don't know if you can see it that good, is based on how many, obviously, strands of the floss that you use. So I typically just use 3. You can use all 6 if you wanted a thicker one. So I just posted a short video on making these French knots. So when I make these French knots, I usually use all 6 strands because I wanted to have a nice, you know, thick knot, right? Okay, so we have our needle threaded. We have it knotted at the end here. Just did a French knot. And let's see here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm leaving the stay stitches in here. And I'm just going to plan out, you know, just randomly plan out, you know, some of where maybe I want to put my fabrics, right? So keep in mind, like these here, we are going to be adding other stuff on top of it. So it really doesn't matter, right? Because eventually sometimes the fabrics, the background fabrics will disappear depending on the stuff that you're adding. Like if you see here, some of this background fabric kind of disappears a little bit because we've added our images, right? You can't tell really here, but there's polka dot, brown polka dot fabric, and it's all good. You know, it's just basically for accents, right? So, you know, just figure out how you want to place your fabrics here. And then I usually just take some pins and I'll pin them in place. I don't know what's the matter with that pin. It's always something when you're doing a video. So I'm just going to pin them in place a little bit, right? So these types of videos are a little longer, and I apologize because the only way to really explain these videos and to appreciate, you know, the different steps is to actually just sit down and do it. I don't know why that looks a little weird. So you can pin them. You can do a glue based if you want. If you have a glue stick, right, you can glue them. This happens to be a permanent, but it doesn't matter. You can glue them, right? Okay. So I'm just going to be doing like I did. Let me give these another pin here. And this is not a video that I can actually speed up. Like I can, which, you know, will help, you know, to move it along. But this is kind of like, you know, you're just kind of relaxing. Like for me, like I'm sitting on the couch and I'm doing most of this stuff. My husband will watch TV and I'm just, you know, I'm doing the different steps at night. So, you know, one night I will add the lace, the fabric and lace, you know, to my muslins, you know, whatever pieces I have. And then another night I will sit and, you know, slow stitch it. And then I'll start little by little embellishing each one. So each step is different, right? All right, so I have my cream thread here, like I said, right? I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to do a basic, just a basic whip stitch here. So I'm going to come in from the back here. And this, so I've been making these for 10 years. And most of the time my fabrics, my lines do not go straight across. You know, sometimes they get, you know, and it really doesn't matter because like I said, half of it is going to be swallowed up by, you know, embellishments and stuff. So if you are a beginner and you want to make sure that your lines are straight, when you put your fabrics down and you pin them, you can take a heat erase marker or, you know, a pen, and you can actually take your pieces of fabrics and you can draw lines and you can create a guide for yourself. But what I've learned over the last 10 years is the reason I like to have a longer needle is because I actually use my needle as a guide when I'm doing the stitching. So I'll show you here. So you're going to go in from the back, right? Whoops. This is a, now keep in mind, there is a lot of fabric and laces and stuff, so you need your needle to be pretty sharp, right? All right, so I have to pull this through. Once I pull this through, it'll be better. So you want it to be sharp because it is going to be going through lots of different fabrics. All right, so I just push it to the back, and I'm just going to take it. So I have my needle here, and it's just going across, right? So I have my start right here. So I'm just going to take my needle, put it in, right? Pull it in a little bit, pull it out, and you see how you're using the needle as a guide. Right? You're going to see how it's going to follow itself actually. All right, so you want to go under at the end. And this is something that you have to just practice. It's very, very relaxing. Very relaxing. All right, so now we have to get this out of all these different fabrics. It's got stuck here. All right, so now we are going to pull it through. Will it get knotted up? Okay, so now you can see right, we went straight across. This one got a little wiggly because it's at the end. But you know, you'll practice, because now what you're going to do is when you do your rows, you'll just follow your needle all the way across. And you don't want your fabric to pucker that much, so you can go ahead and there you go. It got puckered. So, and it is going to get puckered, right? You can see here that it will, because you are pushing, you know, fabric through. All right, so we're going to flip it around, and we're going to meet it at the other side, because your strand is right here. You don't want to be dragging, you know, have long strands on the bottom here. So we're going to pull it back up again, right? It helps to have shorter. I cut this floss too long. All right, so now we're going to do it again, right? So we're going to go here, and we're just going to do one more. We're going to go in, out, in, out, and then we're going to go back in again here. And then we're going to come out this side. This looks kind of like, you know, a little messy. Oh yeah, and your thread is going to bunch up in knots. So just keep an eye out for your thread. Let me take my needle out, my pin. And it's naturally going to want to, you know, pucker. So here we did 2 rows right here, see? And then you're just going to do that. You're going to follow. This fabric is easy because it has lines already. So we're just going to follow, you know, all the way down here. And then we'll have to do all of these here. But that's just the basic part right now, right? So we're going to plug away. All right, so I will do one last row. We're going to go in. Okay. We're going to follow our line. We're going to go in. We're going to come back up and out. Oop. Whoops. we're going to come back out here at the end. We'll pull it through. Oh, we lost a piece of fabric. So there's our rows, and we're just gonna, like I said, we're just gonna keep going along here, and we're gonna follow our needle as we're putting in, and we're going in and out and in and out. We're using our needle as our guide, right? So let me finish this, and then I'll meet you back. So I am finishing up this one last piece. I took 2 of the pieces out, and I'm just going to finish this. There were 5 fabric pieces here, so I'm just going to add this one here, this last one, and then I'm going to add our yo-yo flower, and then I'm going to do some more a couple of French knots that on this fabric here. So once I pull out my stay stitches in the back, this will be a lot less. This will be a lot more loose, but I have the stitches in the back because I originally put this here. So, all right. I'm going to put this through. This will be done. And I don't want to pull it too tight because you don't want it to get, you want it to have some, let's see here. Oh, yeah, let's tie the back. Yeah, the back's never really going to look that pretty. We're going to go underneath here. And that's one of the things. The back's never looked that pretty. And in the loop that you have here, when you're pulling it through, put your needle through once. Oops, I didn't even go through. Once. When you're working with cheesecloth, it gets stuck on everything. So when you're working with cheesecloth and you are doing these, every time you pull a needle through, sometimes like if it's sticking out like this, when you're pulling your needle through, the cheesecloth wants to come through the other side too. So sometimes it gets to be a little hairy-carry mess. It's kind of like a love-hate, I love it because I love the shabbiness of it, right? It looks great, but it just gets to be sometimes a little, it gets stuck on everything. Okay, so let's add these are the other 2 pieces that we were going to add, but I'm going to add see, the cheesecloth gets everywhere, but I love the way it looks. So I'm going to just add my flower here. I think I'm just going to add it up here. That's why I didn't add these 2 pieces yet, because I'm actually going to add that one there, or should I add it here? Because this is the same fabric as this. So I think I'm going to actually just put this in the corner here. I'm just going to pin it at the center here. So using the same thread, because we're just kind of keeping the same, theme here. So I'm going to wrap this around quite a few times here, create my knot. All right, so again, we're going to go from the back here, and we're just going to whip stitch our yo-yo flower. Again, we're just going to go in and out and in and out. That's why having a long sharp needle, the other one I was using wasn't as sharp, so it was actually pulling it, was actually like puckering the fabric. All right, so there's my cheesecloth getting dragged around. So we're just going to go same thing, in, out, and then pull. I like to pull it when it's along the top so I could see it better. So Our flower's coming along nicely. When you have a lot of these frayed fabrics, as you're stitching, they just are like so nosy. They're in your business. They want to be everywhere. Every time you take a stitch, right? But that's part of, doing a lot of using these awesome laces and stuff. See what I'm talking about, the cheesecloth? It's being nosy. Okay, so let's see here. You can, sometimes what I'll do is, depending on the, this is cotton, so this is okay. But if there's some like these fancy fabrics, you make these yo-yo flowers out. I had a chenille flower. I hand stitched it as well as machine stitched it. So you can do both. More often, sometimes I'll just do both. Okay, so we did the same whip stitch here, right? Goes our flower. We'll take our pin out, and then we have our flower. It's very nice and shabby right now, right? These they tend to really look super shabby when you start making them, right? And they come along really nice. Sometimes it's hard to see, how it's going to look until, you start plugging away at it. All right, so I'm going to go out through the back here, and I'm going to take needle, pull it through the center so it grabs a little bit of the fabric here, and then go back down just to secure the center, right? And then I'm going to do the same thing with the loop on the back here. Yeah, so the back is never going to look pretty. And I'm going to do a loop. And we are eventually going to be adding lace to the back of it anyway, so you're never going to see it. Right? You're never going to see any of the mayhem. So it actually doesn't even matter. So what we did today is looking more like this, right? So this is actually a precursor to this. So this is what we're working on. So these are our steps, right? So this right here is our first step, right? This is our second. We're just building. And then we get to our third step. We're just adding, right? And then each step as we go along that we get to here is going to be just another step. So this time we added our pattern fabrics. We added our yo-yos. I added a little lace here. I'm not going to add the lace today because we're just working on our stitching, right? So we did our whip stitch and we are moving along nicely, right? So eventually I'm going to add this here. And then I don't know if I'm going to add a little bit of this. Maybe I'll add a little piece. But for today, we'll just leave these out, right? And I actually want to go and add a French knot. I did like I said, I did a short earlier today on this that I had posted. So I have these little flowers that are in here, right? So you can go ahead in between your stitching. I have, my floss, I have it knotted at the end. I'm going to come back here, right? And just like I did in the short, you're going to grab your needle, grab the tail here, right? And the thickness of your knot, if you use all 6 strands, it's going to be thicker like these guys, right? And the amount of times that you put it around your needle, that also is going to make it, see how high your knot is. So I'm just going to do it a few times. 1, 2, 3. So I'm holding on to my tail and I'm going to stick my needle in the hole where I'm still holding on to my tail here. And then once you pull it through, you can see, can you see the little knot? like a little 3D, right? And you can go around and do, if you have a floral pattern, right? So I want to show you these here. I didn't do the flowers yet, but this would be a nice, these little flowers here would be nice to do your French knots, right? These little flowers here would be also awesome. And in this one here with this rose, I just stitched around it with the floss, you can see, of this rose. So I just did a basic outline of the rose. So there's lots of different things you can do with your, you know, your slow stitch kits if you're going to keep them as clusters or snippets. Like with this one here, with the little butterfly, I just stitched the body and a little bit of the wings that were here. With this one, I just did the body right here. There was a little crown here, so I just stitched around the crown. And I think I'm going to be stitching around this beautiful vintage couch here, right? So there's lots of different options. You can, you know, if you have little pattern fabrics, you can go ahead, right? And you can do knots in these little flowers here, right? You can outline the, you know, this little butterfly. There's so many different things. So for today's video, this is it. I think I kept you guys long enough. So our next video, we are going to be embellishing a little bit more. We can go ahead and add some more stuff, right? So we can add our, we can start, we have our yo-yo flower here. And then we can start adding some more stuff, right? Some more accents. We can add some more laces. We can move on into our steps. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I apologize for the longer video, but these are not videos that you can do, you know, short. This is something that's supposed to be relaxing, right? Not flying through it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please give a thumbs up. Again, if you are a subscriber, please hit the notification button so you can get updated on all the different steps here and all of our new videos. So thank you guys so much for watching. We truly appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much.